Welcome to Comic Book Variant. This is episode 3, top 3 favorite comic book movies.
Don't you know we saved the world, and if not today, then maybe tomorrow. Don't you know we saved the world, and if not today, then maybe tomorrow.
I'm your host, Chase Lee.
I'm Kate Puebo.
I'm Grace Emden.
I'm Courtney Murphy.
I'm Jared Broussard. And I'm Charlie Willis.
Woo! Yay! We have a new member in Kate, so everyone welcome. Kate.
Welcome.
Kate is actually
Welcome,
Caleb's wife. Caleb
So
from the
we'll
first
add on the
episode.
Puebo Owens.
Puebo Owens is kind of a mouthful.
That is
Wobens.
Wobens. As y'all know, as we just told you, this is going to be a show about our top 3 favorite comic book movies, not best comic book movies. As I told most of you, I think there's no real rules. It just meant whatever it means to you when I say top 3 favorite comic book movies. Also, I don't know if everybody even put them in order. I did, and I'll explain that, how I got there. But before we get into that, let's do a little bit of business here. I want to tell you about our sponsor. Complete Media Group is your one-stop shop for photography, videography, DJ, photo booth, and lighting services. Everything your special event needs. Hey, Caleb's here. Hey, Caleb. Hey, Caleb. What's going on?
Kate's husband. Hey.
What?
I've been downgraded.
Downgrade to
Hey,
Kate.
that's an upgrade, sir. That was a pretty immediate upgrade.
You did have dinner waiting for you.
Teen Titans right now. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can't hate on that.
What's up? I was just poking his head. All right. I just wanted to, now that we got the business out of the way, I wanted to talk a little bit about some comic book news and get y'all's opinions on a few things that's happened in the past week or so. First off, who saw the Jared Leto Joker?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd really love to hear opinions on it. Charlie, what?
I honestly hold back all of my negative opinion of things ever since Heath and his stuff, and it's kind of been just kind of amazing seeing different things than what I would have expected to see coming from comic book stuff, because it's a really big step to take to try and go out there in the face of a bunch of us, aka comic book nerds, and change something, because we are so like latched onto that idea. So I thought it was brave to do it, and I would like to see where they're going with that if they continue it. Isn't there like a secondary picture of him or something?
So they released it because it's the 75th anniversary of the Joker. It was just a celebratory like photo for that, and Jared Leto playing the Joker or whatever. It's just something fun that they did, and people just freaked out.
People got real mad.
Like what?
Real quick.
Like Jared, did you see it?
Yeah. And the original article that I read stated that it wasn't what he was going to look like. It was just a fun get-up. David Ayer was playing around with fans. I mean, who cares what he looks like if he's going to be a great Joker?
Right.
He's not going to be Marilyn Manson, which is what he really kind of looked like. You know, but Jared Leto's a great actor. I think he's going to bring a lot of life to the Joker. Now, did y'all see the secondary photo of him? Ripped as Jesus Christ.
No, I don't think I actually saw that.
Well, he was wearing a
ripped?
Superman.
Like-
He was like.
Oh, yeah, no. I told
He's
you.
wearing a
Yeah,
Superman.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he looked. I mean, he dedicates himself to the role, so I think he's going to be hopefully just as good as Heath.
Yeah. What do you think, Courtney?
Well, just to say to the Jared Leto shirtless or whatever beefed up awesomeness, right? It just reminds me of Chris Pratt when the picture he tweeted during Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like right before, and everyone was like, "Oh, Chris Pratt, what's this guy going to do?" I think it's a case of the same situation that, unfortunately, we're all raging fanboys in a certain way when it comes to a certain franchise that we love so much and so passionately, and that we've seen in so many incarnations, that I think, just like the Heath Ledger, just give it a chance, because you could totally be blown away.
Absolutely.
And in all honesty, I think the grills looked so sick cool. Like, they were just awesome. I don't know. And the tattoos, if you notice some of the tattoos, which I thought were cool, were they're actually from different panels and different scenes throughout the comic book. So it was a nice little homage. Like, all the laughter and stuff is straight from the Killing Joke. And I was like, oh, I love this. This is beautiful. But I don't know.
Well, you mentioned the teeth, and I think that's a good segue to Grace. Grace, my girlfriend, and she is a makeup artist in the film industry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. It is art. Yeah, the grill, I just, okay, that's one thing. It's hard for me to picture it as just a metal grill plate. I think that, like, if he was that, is this the,
This
we're
is
passing
him,
around
this is him
the
being
ribs
ripped.
picture? Wait,
he looks
where's his
insane.
face? How do we know this is him?
He actually, it's from his
Because
account.
he's wearing a Superman
Oh,
shirt?
this is his Instagram picture. Okay, well, those are arms. Fantastic. So, okay, that's a cool picture, but no, it's as far as the teeth go, I think the metal is really cool, but
They should have completed
I
it.
don't like that his back teeth, like, that's just one of those makeup artist point of views. I would have paid attention to the detail and actually either colored in his back teeth or done something that doesn't just look like, hey, I'm a pretty boy that has all this stuff photoshopped on me. So that's my opinion on it. I think it's cool as art, but
Interesting.
Now, the Joker is crazy, so he may be the type of person to not get all of his teeth grilled.
no. I get that completely. When I realized that it was just a metal plate over the front part of his teeth, I accept that. I will accept that, but I would have done something maybe more to the back. That's all, just from a makeup artist point of view.
Okay.
So.
I understand.
I mean, my initial reaction, because I didn't realize it was just like an homage to the 75th anniversary of the Joker, I was like, okay, broke-ass Marilyn Manson. I liked the tattoos. I liked the idea of the Joker having tattoos. I felt like the damaged tattoo across the forehead was a little much. It was a little too much for me. But I'm excited. I think Jared Leto's a really great actor. I'm excited to see what he brings to the character. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I loved the tattoos. I actually would have liked to have seen those tattoos
Absolutely.
in the movie. Maybe not the damaged one. That, like, any face tattoos are a little bit difficult because then you're actually
We're
like,
not Mike Tyson here, right?
I think
Right.
that's making him a character that he's really not.
Well, it's also it is reminiscent of Charles Manson, you know, carving the thing in his forehead, and I get that. I think that's what they were trying to go for.
Yeah,
but
the script Old English.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, like,
if it had been carved in his head, that
right.
could have been interesting, you know, something
yeah.
like that.
I mean, it's like a second away from having like a little twinkle star on the end or something.
Right.
I mean, we were talking about the same guy that, as of late, ripped his own face off and then
Right.
repinned it
Oh
to his
yeah,
own face.
yes. Oh
Not that I
God.
think that
Did
damage
you-
should be across his forehead.
You read that?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh
No,
my
the
God, that
whole-
was
what is it, Death in the
freaking
Family?
Death of the Family.
Death of the Family, because
Yeah,
Death
in the Family is the
another
Robin.
one.
Yeah.
I always get those two confused.
Yeah,
because
me
of
too.
The titles.
But yeah, that's terrifying. That was a terrifying story.
But it's so good.
It is. It is very good.
But basically, that damaged would be just already noted once his face is ripped off. We pretty much can assume this
Right.
fella's a little damaged.
Right. Yeah. I guess we can go ahead and get into the show topic, which is our top 3 favorite comic book movies. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go around the table. We're going to say, first off, how you came to your conclusion. And it can be as simple as an explanation as, like, I was on the car ride here and I thought, I like these 3 movies. Or it could be something that, like, I did. And we'll talk.
Like yours.
We'll get to that. Okay, let's go around. I'll go around the other way now. So, Kate, how did you come up with your top 3?
Well, it was kind of spur of the moment. This morning at 7 a.m., Caleb asked me, hey, you want to fill in for me? And I was like, oh, shit. Okay, let me think. And, you know, I like superhero movies. I like action movies for what they are. But and comics, for that matter. But I kind of like slice-of-life comics. I like more indie comics. So I had to think a little bit, and a couple of the ones I came up with, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, that was a comic, or that was a graphic novel. So that's kind of how I came to decide my top 3. and in no particular order, really. But I guess number 3 would be Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Okay, hold on. Before you get into that, I want to go around with everybody and find out. No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll get.
All right.
We will, but that's going to go back around the table and say we're going to just say it's okay. It's all right. We'll start with you next time as well, since you already got yours, and we'll go through it.
So we're just saying.
Just saying
How we
how. Oh, okay. So
we're not saying the list. We're just
not saying the list yet. Not yet. But here's the other thing. I probably should have put this on the thing. I thought I did, but I'm still learning how to be a host of a show. Okay, so if somebody else takes yours, you have an option of like you can just kind of add on and say that was mine, or you can do what I did and you have like. Okay, so yeah, if you have good, that's what I wanted. I wanted alternates. If somebody takes yours, you can say that was mine, but I have this alternate. So okay, cool. So we'll come back to that one. Okay. Grace.
How I got mine?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's been kind of hard because we have just watched pretty much 300 Marvel movies the past few months.
Hey, there was a
We've been
few.
going in order of all of the Marvel movies from Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to really focus on non-Marvel movies, so I wouldn't be too partial to anything. But honestly, I tried to break down my favorites as far as which, of course, makeup aspects, and the best stories told. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
there was a lot of different things. I've got categories.
That's fair enough.
Reasons why they may be. I've got like 1, 2, and 3 for various categories.
Reasons,
so
right.
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how that's going to break down. I'm still plotting.
Still, all right.
For me, I think, well, to be honest, I sat down on Wikipedia and looked up the great, list of comic book movies according to Wikipedia, just to basically rack my brain about ones that I might not remember or might not even considered as a comic book movie because it might have just been based on like a graphic novel or, a one shot or something like that. So I looked at that list and I had like 5 or 6 right off the bat that were obviously on that list. And then I kind of thought about it as like, what would 11 or 12-year-old me totally watch on repeat, like over and over and over again, because that's the side of me that this world fills on a constant basis, is the kid that read the books and fell in love with the world. And like, so completely guilty pleasure doesn't matter, like just it's that awesome to me type feeling. So that's what I ran with after that.
Cool. Gerard.
Well, for me, of course, now that Star Wars are comics, those would be my top.
Right.
I may
Just
even
for
have
episodes.
some of the prequels in there.
Oh man. Okay, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, but I know that's
I was
blasphemy.
gonna say it has to be. If I was doing top 3, it'd have to be Empire Strikes Back #1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. None of the prequels would make it into the.
Top 3? No.
I think
From watching them as a kid, that's probably the reason why they would be in there. Because
right.
honestly, as a teenager, even though Revenge of the Sith was terrible, I could have just watched it over and over.
Right.
But ruling those out, just because now the comics are based on the movies, kind of my role. The way I came up with it was, for one, entertainment, and then the impact it had on me as like emotionally and as a kid too. Because I mean, one of them on there is definitely from my childhood that I still have the VHS. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's how I kind of came up with mine: emotional impact as a kid, and just entertainment.
Charles.
Gonna have to kind of.
I felt like
agree with that.
Magneto
Just
when
like-
I was saying your name. By the way,
Huh?
Charles. I got this feeling of. Never mind.
Of a king.
Yeah.
What'd
It's
you
just.
say?
I'm gonna.
Of a mighty man. In any case, let's skip all of those things. And no, I kind of looked back and went, where was I whenever I first watched this, and how did it make me feel compared to all of the other ones? Whatever. I was just trying to make sure that the first time I watched it ever, I was just blown away by whatever it was. I was going on a first time basis, not even thinking about like how legitimately good it is now, anything like that. Just how much was I, on the edge of my seat for the entire
Just in
ride.
love with it when you
Yeah.
when you saw it. I think that's important.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. Well, now how I got to mine.
Does everyone have a
So-
Get ready.
Is
Get
that
this-
a fantasy football bracket?
It's actually a wrestling bracket.
Oh,
Jared,
Jesus
you appreciate that?
Christ.
Yeah, Jared and I. Oh, Charlie as well. We were all wrestlers in high school. Charlie and I actually wrestled for the same high school.
No, not WWE. No.
Oh,
I straight up was like, wait, which one of you is Macho Man D. Ray?
oh no.
That
Like
is
with weight.
Imaginary world. We're
with-
talking about real things
Right,
here.
with weight classes and
Talking about
points
real men in
and
tights touching each other.
right.
Yeah.
But I did. This is a wrestling style bracket. You can Google what it looks like, or March Madness, I guess, except for it goes all the way to 8th place. I picked 16 of my favorite comic book movies, and then just randomly put them in the bracket, and then had them fight it out in my mind as to who got to the number 1 spot, and I ranked them all the way to number 8. And then I took that winner's list and put it into another bracket that was seeded this time. Because, hey, it matters because I have different answers. So,
My boyfriend, ladies
Dear
and gentlemen.
Lord.
yeah, well, hey, look, I don't know what to tell you. I do things right. Y'all just kind of phoned it in. I get it. So I do have a 1 through 3.
I have the correct
And
answers. Is what
I have the
you're
correct.
trying to
Yeah, I have the correct answers. There's still a slight battle in my mind about 2 movies, so we'll see essentially when we get there whether or
say.
not.
First.
Yeah. So also it helps for my alternate list, so I can just go down immediately to the one I know is my my next favorite. So that being said, why don't we go ahead and start? So since you've already blown the lid off of what yours is,
Sorry.
no, don't need to apologize.
I'm
There
too
are
excited.
there are no rules.
Except that there are.
So Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Loved Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Actually, I know this is terrible, but I saw the movie first. I was
I
working.
think probably most people did. It wasn't a
Yeah.
hugely.
I was working at a bookstore
huge
at the
selling
time, Borders, may she rest in peace. And I kept seeing like the cover artwork and thinking, oh man, I really got to pick those up. And then one night after a shift, my manager was like, hey, we're all going to go see it because the movie theater's right across the street. I was like, all right, cool. So went and saw Scott Pilgrim versus the World and loved it.
Yeah.
So then I picked up the graphic novels and I was like, man, I was just so impressed with how well they adapted it. It was literally like watching those characters on the page like move across the screen. It
Yeah.
was fantastic. Plus, I mean, Ramona Flowers, like one of the most badass girls
Yeah.
ever. Giant hammer, multicolored hair. She's
See
my
that being a
She's my kind of chick. She's my kind of chick. Number 2.
Wait.
Oh.
So,
Oh,
Threes
so
all
yeah,
the
we're
way.
just doing 3s.
Just doing
But I
3s?
want to hear.
Okay.
I want to hear other people's opinion on Scott Pilgrim versus the World too. We're just learning. Yeah, fellas at home, and the 3 ladies that are probably listening, which is probably the 3 at the table.
I'm not listening to this crap. No.
There are such things as unicorns, people.
I know.
Do exist.
The
Right here.
the whole point of bringing women onto the show is to prove that there are women who care about
There
this
are lots
stuff.
of women who like comics.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So, has anybody else seen Scott Pilgrim? I know Grace and I have watched it.
Just recently watched it, and
Yeah.
I at first thought it was definitely more of a video game, but then I looked into the comic, and it was true to the comics. So
Yeah.
it was cute. I liked it a lot. I wouldn't put it as one of my favorites, but it's just one of those things I didn't really grow up with. Dare I say it, video games very much. So
Right.
but I didn't think it was great.
Yeah, there was a lot of times where we just laughed out loud.
Yeah,
a
I mean,
lot.
but that's
It was
also
hilarious.
Michael Cera's just adorable, and
Right.
it was a funny movie.
I really
so.
liked Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kieran Culkin.
Karen-
he was
Holy
great.
crap,
So
he was
good.
awesome.
The
He was
entire
hilarious
cast
in
was
that.
just dropping
Yeah.
bombs. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I know, it was
the,
awesome.
The Scott fight, whatever. This was great.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
anyways.
that was actually on my list, so
Yeah.
I'll have to go to an alternate. It's totally okay. No, I was actually surprised that someone mentioned it because it was one of those ones where I was like, oh yeah, it totally was.
Right.
But my biggest takeaway was I love that the special effects were like straight up out of a like old Adam West, like kapow.
Wow, yeah,
you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
like in your
absolutely.
face, like those little moments that, as gems, as a moviegoer, you've only seen it done kind of tackily, poorly. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah,
or
absolutely.
campy is a better word.
Right.
So to see it go and be translated so well
Right.
is, it was just like
I think
candy.
the sound
Yeah.
mixing on it
Yes.
too really
Yeah.
helped
So
sell
good.
a lot of that.
So good.
Well, it knew what it was.
And
I think
Captain
that was
America
a big
being
thing.
in it,
Big
by the
thing.
way. I don't know if those of you that
Steve
remember
Rogers.
that
And Superman.
well,
Yeah.
well,
I mean, technically,
I know. Yeah, technically, Superman Returns exists, but
it does.
I kind of washed it from my memory with the tears that I cried. So,
The soundtrack is really beautiful
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
like that's a
absolutely, yeah.
solid, like,
That-
Metric
I
does
did like
such a good
that,
job
too.
with that soundtrack. I love it.
good pick. Good pick.
Yeah.
All right, Grace, you're number 3.
My number 3. Oh my goodness. Okay. I have 3 options for each of my numbers here because I didn't expect to be second or how this was going to.
Or do we want to come back to you and we can? Or just-
Okay, so
this is how she is at restaurants too.
yeah, I know it is. I have Justice League War on there, but
Okay.
it was kind of my toss-up between 2 and
That's a good
3. It is animated, but hey,
Hey,
until
animated-
I get a
Counts,
physical
bro.
Wonder Woman movie,
Oh yeah.
that takes the cake
Right,
for
yeah.
now.
Right, yeah,
I
her-
mean, there is Thor. That's kind of the closest thing to Wonder Woman right now. But no, I think Justice League War would probably be. It was,
long hair. Yeah.
yeah, the
The
Greek
gods.
gods, whatever.
Right.
Thor is super voluptuous as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I think-
do conditioner commercials or something. No, so I think I would say Justice League War for number 3.
That's a cool. I love that movie. And have y'all seen it?
Nope.
Yeah. Y'all should check it. I think it's on. I think it's on
It's
Netflix.
awesome. I think
Is it
it
one of
should
the-
still be on Netflix.
It's one
Yeah.
of the DC animated.
Yeah, it's
like,
one of
their
the new
whole series.
DC.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a full
It's really awesome.
feature.
It's based off the new 52 Justice League comic run.
Yeah, it's
So-
really funny. I like it. I like the interactions and the. I don't know.
Yeah, essentially, if you've read the first 6 comics, like in the new Justice League 52, that's the movie. I mean, and they translated almost. I don't want to say panel for panel, but there's a lot of the same like art style and
The
panels
humor
in
is
it.
the same. The personalities
Right.
are the same too.
Check it out.
Yeah, no, it's great. The only thing that bothered me about it is that they take Aquaman out and they replaced it with Captain Marvel. Which, yeah,
Oh,
which,
yeah,
but
yeah.
what we were
I
talking
forgot
about this
about that.
weekend,
I mean,
like Aquaman
which is fine, though.
is
That
crapped
brings-
on so much, and he's actually a really freaking cool character.
Yeah.
I love Aquaman.
Aquaman's
he doesn't get
awesome.
enough. He doesn't get
I do
enough
too.
love. I feel
He's
so
the
terrible
king
for him.
of 70% of the world.
And he's
Yeah.
about to get a film.
I was about to
Yeah.
say, but I think that's turning around.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
hopefully.
But I didn't
For him
mind
over-
Captain Marvel in that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Say that into the actual microphone.
Who doesn't love Khal Drogo?
Yeah.
We're sharing microphones, so I apologize at home. We're working out the technical difficulties of this.
I regret nothing.
By
So-
episode 5, we will be professional.
Yeah,
have,
absolutely.
Have our own mixer and
Not
everything.
episode 4.
So that's next week.
We will not be professional. That's a good pick. Courtney.
So since Scott Pilgrim was taken, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with From Hell.
From Hell, nice.
So
Nice.
when I saw this movie, I was in high school, and of course, like any young high school girl, Johnny Depp was madly attractive and wacky and zany and accents and stuff. But me having a little bit more darker side was like, ooh, Jack the Ripper. I had already been into the lore and was like, oh, here's this movie. Well, I didn't know it was based on a comic book. Read the comic book, which the comic book is almost scarily, eerily different in a certain
Yeah.
way. If you've ever had the opportunity to read it, first off, it's Frank Miller, so the artwork is just like super minimalistic,
Right.
And it
Very noir.
suits. Yeah, it's very sparse. It's very stark. I mean, there's a little bit of red, black, and white, and
Right.
that's it. It's
Like
you're reading
every
Sin
other
City.
Frank
exactly.
Frank Miller.
I was waiting for some yellow to show up in Colby. But no. Anyway, so I read it and was like, wow, this is so much more darker in the sense that like it talks about the Illuminati and some of the actual myths of who Jack the Ripper really is. But the beauty of the film is what stuck with me the most. I think the part that is kind of seared itself in my mind is there's a scene when they're in an alleyway and all of a sudden there's a young lady, and then all of a sudden she's in a shadow, and then all of a sudden you just see the knife create red, like it's like a like across her stomach, and you know what just happened.
Right.
She's literally been gutted, but it was just a beautifully dark, like oh, like I just got really excited.
It's so beautiful
about
when women get gutted.
I'm really dark and twisted. I'm sorry, guys. But no,
catch
that's
you on Craigslist.
That's interesting. I've always thought of Frank Miller as the oh God, I can't think of the director's name that I hate now. Why can I not think of
The director that you hate.
M. Night
I
Shyamalan.
know.
Michael
Edward
Bay.
Scissorhands.
Oh, really?
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. There we go. I've always thought of Frank Miller as the Tim Burton of the comic book world, in that like his first few things were awesome and changed it, and then every other comic is the exact same comic. His stories are great, but it's just kind of like, okay, it's dark. I get it. It's shadowy.
It took me a very long time to read From Hell.
Yeah.
Like a really long time to read
can
From
imagine.
Hell. Like probably months, which is like
Wow.
ridiculous for a comic book.
That's a lot for a comic book.
No, it really was. It was just like it would get painfully slow at times, and I was like, "God, this does not move as fast as the movie. Oh my gosh, like this
Right.
is ridiculous." But not hating on you, Frank Miller, because it was really good. But the payoff's worth it. But
Yeah.
it's a long piece for sure.
All right, Jared.
Never seen it and have no comment.
No, no. Well, I mean, unless anybody
What's your
has
number 3?
someone to
I've
add-
never seen that, but I mean, I don't know.
I've seen
It's really cool. I think you'd like it, especially dealing with. It's got the same stuff as the haunted house you work at with Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
There's a lot of themes that are similar.
The film? I mean, I've never, I don't know, I've never seen anything about it. So
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
it's really good.
Definitely a good one. You know, one of the lesser known like Johnny Depp roles, but
Yeah.
he's pretty.
Oh, and they both
impactful
use Johnny
in it.
Depp, just Tim Burton and Frank Miller story.
Oh, good grief!
What's actually really funny is I can't remember what actor said it or director, but they called Johnny Depp's portrayal in that movie as like a spineless dandy, a spineless whimpering dandy. Like that's like his portrayal in the movie. and
Interesting.
it's really, whenever somebody makes fun of Johnny Depp, I'm like, oh, that spineless whimpering dandy.
Dandy.
That's nice.
All right, Jared's
Well,
number 3.
I am gonna drop a bombshell just because I know this is gonna be on most people's top 3, and it is ranked lower than most people probably have it. But The Dark Knight.
Oh God, yeah.
Man,
Absolutely.
All right.
So
This is the sound of a line going through my list.
yeah.
Oh wow, that was a really high up on that list too.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's on mine too.
Fine.
Oh, sorry, Chase, and whoever else had it on their list. But it was. I thought it changed comic book movies for the most part. I mean, yeah, Tim Burton was dark. He had a nice portrayal of Batman, but I just thought this was so much more realistic.
Absolutely.
Heath Ledger's performance in it was just mind-blowing. He was sinister. He was dark. He was funny in the most sadistic ways possible, but who will not remember the line, "Why so serious?"
Right, absolutely.
I mean, throughout high school, all my friends would, every once in a while we would just,
Right.
"Why so serious?"
Right. For the next 3 years, everyone was the Joker for Halloween.
Right.
Like I think
Yeah.
there are still people.
Oh,
who
I
do.
did.
Oh no, that's
13
right. You
Jokers
did.
this year alone. I
Right.
mean, and it's been how many years now?
Yeah.
And it's always the Heath Ledger Joker. It's never any others. It is always, I want the scars. I want to be this Joker.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
It is not simmered at all.
I'll be the Jared Leto tattoo
Oh
picture.
yeah, I did
Joker.
it on you this year too.
Oh, you did do
as
it
a
just to
test.
practice, yeah, because you had so
Yeah.
many people that wanted to do it.
I forgot.
No, I agree. Like, what was so cool about his makeup too is that that was Heath Ledger's design.
Yeah, he practiced it on
He
himself.
did it himself that one time, and then came in and they replicated it for him. That's
Right.
really
Yeah.
awesome.
I thought that sinister outlook on an actual villain was so different than most.
Yeah.
Most of the villains, they're so one-sided, but he was just so in depth.
Mm.
Are we going to continue talking about the Dark Knight?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably make 3 rounds about
Yeah,
our
'cause
opinions
that
about
was-
the Dark
that's
Knight.
Yeah,
but-
we can keep talking about it if you want. If anybody else has anything, I mean, there's so much to talk about with that movie. I mean,
Yeah, we could
the-
do
Hello.
a smoothie.
Oh, we got
Someone was
Jason.
just asking about your smoothies.
hey man. Jason, we're actually just doing our number 3, so we haven't even gotten to where you would say yours yet. So you really haven't missed too much, other than we talked about like how we got there. So maybe after Charlie goes, you can say
Your third pick.
How you got your picks.
how
and
you
your
picked
third
your
pick.
top 3, and then what your number 3 is.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
So
So
you would not know. Everybody knows Jason,
unless you have
right? This is
oh.
Caleb's wife, Kate.
Hi.
Okay, Charlie, you mind sharing one after you're
Yeah,
done?
I do.
Okay, cool. Okay, so anybody, Jason, do you have anything to say about The Dark Knight and its awesomeness?
Dark Knight's fantastic. I feel like I step on some toes if I say anything because I feel like it's probably been said already. Mostly
Wait,
because I don't know what's been said already.
Jared just said it was his third pick, so we've all scratched it off of our number ones. But so we're just talking about what we like about it because it would absolutely be in our top 3.
Okay. No, I mean it's a solid choice. I liked it. It was probably one of the first comic book movies that I saw that I was like, whoa, oh
Well
man.
done.
So no, it's a solid choice. It's a solid pick.
All right.
It was obviously a popular choice, but not one of mine.
Oh, all right. Well, good.
Well,
No,
I'm
that's good.
intrigued to hear what yours are then.
Charlie, you're number 3.
My number 3 is gonna have to be the original Spider-Man.
Okay, wait. When you say the original Spider-Man,
Sorry, the original Spider-Man for me, which was sadly, was it Toby?
yeah,
Tobey Maguire, yes.
Toby.
Yeah.
Sorry, Toby.
You got to eat that microphone, sir.
I'm going to eat this microphone. But yeah, that Spider-Man, it was, I don't know, man. That was my childhood, like
Yeah.
right there. I saw that and like him swinging around and stuff because like I said last time, Spider-Man was a huge part of me and my dad's like relationship and stuff. And so to see it on the big screen and like make it come alive, I was like, oh my god, I want to be Spider-Man. Make this happen for me. But I hate spiders,
Absolutely.
so I was like in a conundrum.
The spiders of men. Oh, you start weeping.
Oh, he gave me Kleenex, and now I feel like a vagina.
Hey, now, I think you
Kleenex
just
is a big
offended
item.
half the table right now.
Sorry, Jason.
I'm a vagina.
Vagina.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, because when you said original, there is that one from the 70s that probably none of
Is it
y'all.
like a sweatsuit, like
Essentially, yeah,
suction
like
cup to like
he
a wall?
he does the spider webbing, and like so you cut away from some like a white rope. Just he throws like a white rope, and then
yeah.
you cut to the bad guys, and they have a white net thrown on them. It's so bad. It's one of the, everyone should watch it. It's hilarious.
Toby isn't in that, but yeah.
No, and Toby
Does
is
he
not in
kiss
that.
upside down in the rain? Is what I really want to know.
If Mrs. Dunst in it.
Spider-Man, I think, would have been on one of my columns of, my younger self column is actually Spider-Man would probably be first on that list because that was the first movie that I, as a kid, and I thought, wow, like this is an incredibly made superhero action movie. The graphics, I just remember even just the beginning with the web shooting out. I remember getting chills, and I wasn't even into. I mean, I went with a bunch of guys from middle school or high school or something. So I just remember getting chills, thinking this is going to be incredible. Oh my god, I want to be a superhero.
William
Like-
Dafoe's monologue to himself in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
I went to school for theater, so as a budding thespian, seeing this movie in like 7th or 8th grade,
Yeah.
I was like, "That's the greatest."
No, he worked
monologue
on
ever.
he worked on a film here, and I saw him, and I immediately was like, "Oh my god, it's Green Goblin!
He's gonna kill me.
Oh my god, I just want to hear him
Where's the
talk."
hoverboard?
And he absolutely just talks in this most suave, awesome voice. So.
So legit.
All right, Jason, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh.
Old school.
It's
That was my number 2.
Boom.
That's what you get for
That's what
throwing
you get
out
for
Dark
Dark
Knight
Knight.
too soon.
my childhood was Kevin Conroy as Batman with Beatos, and it just whenever that movie came out, the fact that it was the first theatrical release of a comic book movie, it was animated comic book movie. it made it that much more special to watch
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy on the big screen. It was almost like seeing him as a live-action Batman on the silver screen. I mean,
Yeah.
it obviously wasn't, but
Yeah, because it's animated.
because it was drawn.
You know cartoons aren't real, right?
Well, don't tell 7-year-old Jason that. 23-year-old Jason, probably. 7-year-old Jason, they are real.
Fun fact, throwing Star Wars in there, Mark Hamill was the voice of the Joker, and they actually used the TIE fighter sound in one of the scenes. I think in the...
I knew you'd sneak Star Wars.
Yeah,
in here
somehow
somewhere.
I got it in there. But yeah, the Mask of the Phantasm, that was my number 2, and I loved that movie. That's the
Yeah.
one I still have on VHS. So
Oh, that was the one you were talking about earlier.
That was it's a solid number 2.
yeah.
I now feel really bad about having it at number 3.
Well,
Hey,
I
he had-
kind of felt bad for Dark Knight.
He
being
had
number
Dark
3,
Knight
so-
at number 3, and it ruined half of our lists.
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
That's one of those ones I just
Yeah,
it's
you
like a
kinda
Hail Mary.
knew.
You just say
Right.
you don't even say it because it's gonna be said.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess it's my turn. My number 3 is The Mask with Jim Carrey. That is
Interesting.
yeah, man.
Did not know
They call me
comic book.
Yep.
Because that was, I don't know if you
So-
know this, but Jim Carrey's kind of like one of my heroes.
I actually had a crush on him when I was a child.
Jim Carrey or The
Like,
Mask?
Jim Carrey. Like I love
Mask.
I love everything that Jim Carrey has ever done. Of course, being a child of the
Besides Dumb
90s,
and Dumber
my
2,
my
hopefully.
room was wallpapered with Tiger Beat magazine cutouts, and
man.
there was one lonely Jim Carrey poster that I had above my bed, and I would kiss it goodnight.
Wait,
every night.
was it Jim Carrey as a character, or did you
No,
have
it was like Jim Carrey on the red carpet. Like I don't know
Oh,
why, but that man
Wow.
somehow caused
That
my
is
sexual
intense.
awakening. It's weird. It's
That's
really
hilarious.
weird. I don't even know if
Caleb
my
hates
husband.
Jim Carrey,
I don't
correct?
even
Well,
know
your
if my husband
husband
knows
just
that.
told me that we don't like Jim Carrey, so that's fascinating to me.
Opposites
Yeah,
The
attract,
Mask?
I
I
guess.
was telling Courtney the Mask. Say it in the microphone.
Yes,
really
I
funny.
love that movie.
Yeah, most people don't know it was a comic book. It was a Dark Horse comic book in the
Dark
late
Horse, obviously.
Right.
late 80s. It first came out in Dark Horse Presents number 10 in 1987.
So when you say Dark Horse Presents, it was kind of like
It was-
it wasn't his
a
own.
special-
No, it wasn't his
just a
own
story.
No, he actually, and it was actually spelled differently, and the character wasn't exactly the way he is in the film.
Okay.
He was the Mask, though. I think it was like the Mask, but like spelled like a masquerade.
Like MASQUE.
QUE, yeah. And but he actually became the full realized character that we know and love from the movie in 1989. 2 years later, in Mayhem #1, which I think was essentially his title, just called Mayhem. And the main character starts out being Stanley Ipkiss, like we remember, but then the guy who most of the time wears the mask is actually the detective from the movie that follows him around, like yelling at him the whole time. That's the guy from the comics that's most of the time the mask.
Interesting.
Weird.
Yeah.
I wonder why they decided to.
Because Jim Carrey's
Amazing.
awesome, and
Jim
Kinda
Carrey.
steals the show.
well,
just carried
and that's
it,
the thing is
basically.
that the detective character is not really as funny as Stanley Ipkiss is, and
So it's the more useful character, but not the funnier character.
right, exactly. And it is the original character. The original one is Stanley Ipkiss, who gets the mask.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. Really good comic if y'all want to check it out now that you know about it. Mayhem #1. Oh,
Never would have guessed that was your third favorite movie.
Jason, how did you get your picks? How did you come up with your 3 picks?
My 3 picks came from being a nerd as a child, growing up really lonely. My best friends were superheroes and comic book pages. So honestly, my 3 favorite movies are, one consists of the animated movie, the other one consists of a sexual awakening, and
oh God. I know what movie this is.
that's
No, don't say it. Don't spoil
to be
it.
determined.
Yeah.
TBD.
And then the other one is one that's just really nostalgic. So my 3 favorites came from just being a nerdy, lonely kid.
I think that's kind of across the board seems to be how everybody kind of got to theirs. It was just like their love as a child.
Yeah,
Because that's where I am with The Mask, is that there are other more obvious, awesome comic book movies, but I've probably, when I was a kid, watched The Mask like dozens and dozens of times. It was great.
That's how I was with Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
And see, like, to me, this list was actually harder to make than my 3 favorite comic book TV shows.
We're talking about that. That's going to be another show that we do. That's 3 favorite comic book TV shows.
Just because, I mean, like, TV shows is...
We should go ahead and just take Batman animated series off the list, because I think that's going to be almost everybody's top 3.
Number one.
Episode about that.
Yeah, no, a whole,
Animated
a
series.
whole BTOS episode would be great.
Yeah,
Even as a kid, though,
he threw out a B-toss.
Wow.
as a kid, I used to call it BTOS because I was a badass. But as a kid, I thought it would be way better if it would have been Batman animated the series, because then it would have been Bats. And I was like, you just missed an amazing opportunity. But then I was like, Superman the animated series, which was another really good one because I'm sitting next to Superman, and he could probably kill me.
Superman doesn't kill unless you're Zod.
But Estos just was really good too.
We'll get to that. Okay, so let's go to our number 2, and then instead of going around the table, I'm just gonna like random. Okay, if I know pick you, you're gonna be the Charlie.
Yay. I've been chosen. So number 2, gonna say 300.
300. All right.
Yeah.
This is me scratching.
Yes.
I think
Okay, no, it's okay. I have 2 more on my
Three-
number 2 list.
300 was one of my alternates.
Yeah, I remember because we went and saw it together.
Mhm.
It was freaking amazing.
Yeah, it
And
was
then
awesome.
You got that, and I got Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, continuing. Going back to
I
the
have
reason
no idea
why
what that
300 was so
reference
long, you mentioned for me. Since it had already come and gone, and that was like a huge thing for making comic book movies look like comics.
Yeah.
I loved it. And then 300 came, and I was like, oh my god, the action. Give me more.
Man, macho
You know,
testosterone.
yeah, obviously, I was mostly just testosterone and testicles at this point in time in my life, and so it was just like, like murder in the most beautiful sense. And so it was just amazing. It was, I can't. Okay, sorry, I'm not speaking into the mic properly. And so basically, like, every scene of that was a painting to me.
Oh, yeah.
Every
Definitely.
single bit of it was just gorgeously done, and it was the most violent, ridiculous, like, teenage boy dream of, like, craziness.
Absolutely.
But it touched me. So I don't know.
That was our first little my
Thanks for
first.
everyone.
I don't know about everybody's, but that was my first little touch of Zack Snyder. Was that movie? And I don't know timeline wise, just because I'm still kind of young. Which one came first? Chicken or the egg? No, Watchmen or 300? 300 came first.
Yeah.
And then I know that he had the Owl movie. That was Guardians Owl. That was after Watchmen? Okay.
He did Dawn of the Dead too, the newer one
Electric Boogaloo.
from like 2004 or whatever.
What?
Yeah, that was his first release.
Oh my god. Okay, so Zack Snyder is now my hero. Cool.
And he did Man of Steel, which we'll maybe talk about later.
Which was a thing. That's weird.
That's
Yeah, and I've always just
300.
loved the idea of the 300, Spartans and the Warrior Society and stuff. So
Right.
I've seen it up on the big screen is really
Mm.
cool. Instead of I don't know, because most of the things I'd seen before then of that were like, what was it? Oh, come on, like Ben-Hur, like that style of like
Right, yeah, right.
stupid
yeah.
old yeah.
Yeah.
This is just in a sand
It's-
pit. There's like 300 people here.
Probably more accurate, but like just
Not
like
nearly as
not
fun to
nearly as
watch.
cool, right? No, absolutely. I actually did the 300 workout, like the workout that they did to get to do that. It was retarded. I was in
Not
much better shape then.
I think I may have done maybe 300 workouts. In my lifetime.
All of the life. Yeah, that's exactly the same thing.
Two arms, two legs.
Kate, number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is Ghost World.
Ghost World. Man. Really, I gotta be honest. I didn't know that was a comic book movie.
I didn't know that was a movie.
I didn't either the first time I watched it. As a kid, when my parents were divorced, every Saturday night I would go stay the night at my dad's house, and we would always go to Major Video to go rent a movie. And as I became kind of like an angsty teenager, you know, I was looking for more angsty movies for me to watch, and I was like, oh, look, there's a chick with blue hair on the cover. I'm totally going to watch this. And, you know, as a 14-year-old, didn't really understand it very much, but enjoyed it nonetheless. So today, while my daughter was napping, I decided to rewatch it. And now I remember why I loved it so much. Because Enid, like, that was me as a teenager. Social outcast, you know, made snarky comments about everyone behind their back, lived in this horrible town that was made of, like, strip malls and crap. So I just really connect with characters. Steve Buscemi's in it. I mean, he makes everything awesome.
He even made that the Snickers commercial awesome.
Yeah. Right. And, you know, like, really, really young Scarlett Johansson, too. She's got, like, total baby face.
Yeah.
She's, like, 18 in that movie.
That movie is great.
Yeah, really young. And then Thora Birch, of course, her biggest claim to fame was being the annoying kid in Hocus Pocus, the young daughter. Yeah, that giant 5 head of hers. Like, that's that like Ghost World and Hocus Pocus and like American Beauty, I think, are like her 3 major movies that she's ever done.
Holy crap. Oh man, I just realized you just connect. Oh yeah, I've seen all 3 of those movies, but I just never connected those dots.
Yeah.
She's
So
just one of those actresses whenever actresses, with the exception of Drew Barrymore, whenever actresses like grow up, and to be frank, I never connect them back to their childhood. Courtney, go.
So demanding. Oh man. Okay, so I think I kind of jumped the gun for a second, but I'll go back to what I really considered my third choice. I was just concerned when I said my second choice because my actual second choice was taken. Anyway, okay, so scooting back a little bit, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Most people discount this movie and say, "Oh, it's so lame. Why would you like it?" Charlize Theron. Well, no, sorry, not Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron's husband at the time, Stuart Townsend, plays Dorian Gray.
Yeah. But also Shane West.
Yeah, Shane West is okay. So my 2 cents about the movie that I absolutely love is the sheer fact that Sean Connery's in it, and it's a comic book movie that has Sean Connery in it, and he plays Alan Quartermain.
But that was like his last one.
I know, one of his last movies ever to do.
It was so sad.
Yeah.
But it's such a great part to play as a last part when you think of it, because the character is like this dying breed, for a lack of better word. And I'm a huge fan of literature and literature crossing over into the comic book world. Like, I read comics as a kid, but I read books first. And I really fell in love with, like, Dorian Gray, Dracula, you know, like all the stories that you grow up on that are the myth and the lore that comic books kind of become later on. So I just really appreciated the story and how it connected all these people. And at the time I was into fan fiction, so I was like, oh my god, it's like a giant crossover. Just Sherlock Holmes needs to be here and everything would be great. You know what I mean? Like, throw in the Phantom of the Opera. I don't know. Anyway, but I just really appreciated the crossover. I thought that the actors did a great job. And I really love me some Sean Connery, but not just because I'm a Bond fan, but and it's cool if you've ever read the the comic book series. The artwork is really unique and cool too. Yeah. For having someone who was born and raised on, you know, like 80s and 90s straight up just testosterone, muscle, scary people being like
spandex and
spandex and everything.
G-strings and
completely different, different world.
The League did make my my top 16, and it was right at the 16 mark. I mean, I love the movie, but there's just, I guess that's just a testament to how many awesome comic book movies there have been.
Yeah.
I think it might have beat out Weird Science. Yes, that's right. Weird Science was a comic book movie. All right, let's go to Grace.
Okay. we've got a 3-way tie, and 300 was already said, but it was mostly because of the beautiful, absolutely beautiful way that was shot, the makeup. Of course, I'm going to keep going back to that because it's pretty much what I focus on. But my other one was, it was such a tie between the old Turtles and Sin City. I can't.
Oh, she can't pick.
Sin City. It's weird because I'm gonna go with Sin City, but
Thank God.
yeah, it's weird because it is kind of going to the opposite side of, like, it's not colorful. It's such a dark noir film, whereas, I mean, as dark as 300 was, it was still the colors were beautiful and vibrant and bold, and the makeup and stuff. It's actually really difficult to do makeup and make it look natural and good with black and white, and they did a great job. So I'm gonna say Sin City.
Cool deal. Yeah, no, I love that movie. Although it didn't make my 16. I don't know if I could have put it somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I guess it's my Frank Miller thing again. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, he's good, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll talk. That's a whole nother show talking about Frank Miller. But no, since he's good. I do. I like. I can't remember his name. The guy with the red Converse. He goes into Old Town and kills all the people with the prostitutes.
That was Tobey Maguire.
No.
Elijah
First
Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Shit,
and
guys.
no, I am not.
That is
Frodo.
Frodo murders everyone.
No.
Okay.
I'm just not going to bring that up on the show. But anyway, yeah.
That's another show.
Another show.
That's another show.
Charlie, I want you to let Jason talk. Hey. Sorry, I forgot you went. You're right. I didn't keep track of that.
Oh,
Jason.
I'm sorry if my number 2 takes anybody's number 1 pick,
Oh, it's okay.
but my number 2 is Elektra.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, not
This
even
is
close.
his sexual awakening.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
How many comic book films are there? And can we not place that as the last one? Like the final of all of them?
No, Daredevil takes the last.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk to you right now
Okay.
because Jennifer Garner was my sexual awakening. She was by far just everything I ever wanted as like a 9-year-old boy. She was
9.
hot.
You were 9 when Elektra came out. Oh my God.
I probably
Sure, I
highballed
drove
that guess
myself
too.
to say
I'm young.
Yeah.
No, just Jennifer Garner had everything I wanted as an 8-year-old boy. She had boobs and legs, and so I was like, yes. And she was like down for blindness, and I was like, you know what? I feel you.
Do you think this has anything to do with your love of like ninja type things though too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So it was basically like a female Ninja Turtle, guys.
There was that,
I'm delving into the psyche of this,
Right.
of this sexual awakening.
Because I'm trying to figure. I can't.
but well, it was the fact that like
Because I actually like Daredevil. The director's cut. The director's cut with Ben Affleck, not the theatrical release. The theatrical release is trash, but the director's cut is much better.
Well, as a little kid, a bit about me, I'm like hardcore dyslexic, like badly. And so as a little kid, I was like dealing with that. Like I was kind of sad about it. And the fact that she like got with somebody who was blind, I'm like, I was one step away from that. Like that's, I can't make shit out anyway. And so, I mean, I was blind and I had dyslexic and I had glasses. And so I was like,
You were
know what?
blind and
I'm
you had
really-
glasses.
I'm really only one chemical spill away from Jennifer Garner, and I could possibly make this happen. So it was within my grasp. You know, she ended up with that whore Ben Affleck, but
Oh man. Can that please be your like Twitter feed description? Is I'm one chemical spill away from Jennifer Garner.
It kind of already is.
I think I kind of want to make that one of the quotes on our Facebook page. Just like unofficial.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're one chemical spill away from Jennifer Garner. Okay, Electra.
Yeah, no, it's a solid number 2. I'm sorry if I stepped on anybody's number 1.
I don't think you have to worry about that. I think you're good. I think you're good.
Nope. It's one of those movies that I could watch forever because
Because you
I
always
know
be
that it's
born.
bad, but like it's not one of those movies like the first Captain America that if you watch it, you cannot watch it again for like a day and a half because it's thick, it's meaty, it's got a lot to it.
Right.
Or
it's like a popcorn situation where you can just keep.
A concession.
I can
comic book
keep
movie.
There you
snacking
go.
on that movie pantsless in my living room. So like it's this whole
At some point, you have to leave the room.
Okay, Jared. Hey.
Now my mind's eye is blind.
You
Well,
know-
my number 2 was Mask of the Phantasm.
Mhm.
And can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2 was Mask of the Phantasm, and Jason so rudely took that one, but it's okay. I had to have an alternate, and I am gonna go with. Man, I didn't have any alternates. Oh man. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the first Avengers.
Okay.
Even though I did like the second one better, I thought the Avengers, the first one, just did something different than any other
Right.
comic book movie before. They had humor, they had destruction, they had fun. I don't know, it was entertaining. Joss Whedon just did a great job with it. I know a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with Joss. So
How could you hate?
I was about to say.
How could you? Who hates?
that's another conversation with
Oh.
Loomhouse. Those are those.
Are you
guys.
kidding me?
Steve Klumpers.
He's
I just
dead to me
named dropped.
forever.
God,
Dead to me
Steve.
forever.
I loved Firefly and Serenity.
Oh, yeah. Holy crap.
Those were great,
So awesome.
great TV series and great movie.
Buffy.
Yeah, I mean,
Angel,
Joss just does a great job with
everything.
pretty much anything he does. And with the Avengers, it was funny, it was exciting. It was a comic book movie, man.
Yeah, no,
that's
it was-
exactly what
yeah.
it was.
he proved so many people wrong with that movie. Just the idea, like people kept saying, you could never make an Avengers movie. It's too much. You'd have to put too much in one movie. It'd be too. I mean, and with the second one. Now I made a rule with myself together because we have most of us have seen the new Avengers movie, but huh? Kate.
I haven't even seen the first one.
It's all right. She likes more personal comic book stories. That's okay.
It's just my problem. Every time I sit down to watch the Avengers, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm half asleep on the couch, and that movie takes so freaking long to set up. Like, I always fall asleep right after Black Widow comes and gets Hulk. And I'm
wow.
like,
Gotcha.
I did watch like the last, I don't know, maybe hour of it on FX on Friday, but I was still kind of like, I'm not really sure what's going on.
Right.
But, you know.
That is
too.
one of
I
my
do have a
qualms
young
with it. And the
kid.
reason,
She'd actually probably sit down and watch
She'd
it with
probably
me.
love it.
So
I mean, the reason I did like the second one better was because the first one did have a lot of build-up, you know. But I still think that Avengers #1 was amazing.
Well, and like I was going to say is that I didn't allow myself to even put the Age of Ultron on this list just because it might very well crack my top 3, but I just saw it like 3 days ago, and it needs to process more. I need to see it. You know, I've seen all of the movies on my list more than once, so just putting a movie on there that I haven't seen more than once felt dirty. So. It's not dirty. Okay, has everyone else said their number 2 yet?
Yeah, I think
Yes. Okay, so I guess my turn is now it was Dark Knight, because it's Dark Knight's awesome. But I am going to replace it with Man of Steel, which was my number 4. I think that there are better comic book movies. I mean, there are certainly better comic book movies than Man of Steel, but me being a Superman fan, it was nice to finally see a live-action Superman movie where he fights someone and it doesn't look like they're on wires. Like, I love the, Christopher Reeve Superman movies, as him as Superman, he's great. But and you really do believe that he can fly. Whenever you watch that as a kid, it's just like, holy crap, that he can fly. But then you get to the fight scenes, and they're just kind of like flipping weirdly, and then
The Lois Lane scenes.
well, yeah, and I'm not a big fan of Margot Kidder as Lois Lane because I've read the comics. I don't really like what they did with her. I know a lot of people who just watch the movies love her, but I'm not a fan. I do like Rachel McAdams as Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Or no, Amy Adams. Amy
Amy
Adams.
Adams.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Rachel McAdams would have been better though.
Well, I don't know.
Amy
Maybe.
Adams has this like.
I loved
I like Rachel
the
McAdams.
moment whenever she says, "Are we done with the pissing contest?" in this movie. That was like, okay, finally they got Lois Lane. Like that is Lois Lane. It's not somebody who doesn't know how to spell things. Like
Did we get a Jason Lois Lane?
Oh no, just like and all the in the two movies and then even in Smallville, she's like, how many S's are in Massacre and like stuff like that. Like she is a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter. She knows how to write.
Who decided to make that happen? Like
I
had never realized that. I just don't watch much Superman. But
Right.
yeah, that's kind of a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be this really
always,
smart.
yeah.
And that's always the issue that I had with Superman in general was that Lois Lane existed, and then secondly that she was the way that she was in so many cases where it was just kind of like supposed to be amazing, and then never really
Right.
made it for me.
Right.
But do you think that that's because it was a victim of the period? Like her character,
Possibly.
not
Probably.
comic book wise, but I mean like in the incarnations of say like Christopher Reeve, and then even into, I mean it's nice to say or to see, and you've got people like Black Widow and like all these awesome badass females. Hopefully Wonder Woman, like these people are on board to see them in another light. So,
Well, yeah, I think
to create that with Amy Adams is what I'm saying.
right. I think with her. With Amy Adams specifically, like that's more true to the comic for me. But then in the 70s, the comic, you had Superman or Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend. Like she had an entire title that instead of her being her own character, her entire life revolves around trying to prove that Clark Kent is Superman and to trick Superman into marrying her.
That's the one where
Yeah.
she becomes a black woman, right?
In that series, yes, she becomes a black woman.
She does for a whole issue. She becomes a black woman.
In a very, very ham-hand. They're trying to be like
So-
politically, like make people aware of like how difficult it is to be a black person in 1970s America, and it just comes up like
So let's not
And
introduce
date
a
Superman?
black person. Let's just make a white person.
let's make a white
Literally,
person
she
black
goes into
for
a machine.
day.
She goes into a machine and
that
she gets
Superman
turned
has
into
Superman has built and
so ridiculous.
built a machine that could turn her into a black person.
Terribly insensitive.
Now they just have
Check
tanning
out the
beds,
cover
I
of the
mean.
comic book. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So going to number 2, like I said, other better, well done, other better comic book movies, but it's certainly one of my favorites simply because they finally got a live action one where I believed them fighting. And I don't care what people say, he spends the whole time trying to save people. Now the fight scene at the end that like destroyed the city, I get it, but it was an alien race that was trying to destroy the world, and he did what he could. He hasn't been Superman this whole time. He doesn't know how to, he just learned to fly. Like I would have liked maybe a little bit more of him like flying and catching somebody off and it'd just fall or something to show that like while
Spider-Man
he is
style.
yeah
While he's going through a bunch of stuff, just like caught
caught this person, that sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, from I don't know if you've seen the new not the new one, Amazing Spider-Man 2, but he like it slows down in the slow motion and he like saves like 6 people, showing all at the same time, and like having that kind of moment, I think would have made the movie even that much better. It might have made it my number 1.
Wow.
But yeah, so there was that. But save people, like stop saying you didn't
I've never
care.
had the. I've disregarded the argument of like, oh, well, he destroyed an entire city to save an entire planet. Okay.
It's like, have you ever watched any other comic book movie where that happens?
There's so many times where things just like go wrong, and he was fighting such a galactic, presence or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, that was understandable. My issue with it was the short film thing, which we discussed. It was a bunch of short films.
Yeah, I don't agree with you, but we've discussed it.
Yeah, I mean, you agree with me, and so like that's why we're.
Okay, so moving on to our number ones. All right, who wants to go first?
Me.
Okay,
me.
Courtney.
I don't want anyone to say mine.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think anyone will, but Batman Returns, hands down, my favorite.
Oh yes, your
number one movie.
Catwoman love.
There it is.
Because
Oh,
I
Catwoman.
am
There
the
it
biggest
is.
fan of
Figured
Catwoman
it
to
out.
probably exist ever in the whole world.
So Halle Berry didn't make
That
your
is
list?
blasphemy. Do not say those words. No, but to like your love of Man of Steel, to see like a true incarnation of said character, Michelle Pfeiffer, in my mind, is the iconic Catwoman. Like the curly blonde hair, being like pulled out of the black outfit because she's fallen 5 stories at the very end of that movie, and she's so just messed up. Like it really was, for her character, it really was and I mean, there are so many different origin stories for her, just like the Joker, just like most of the Batman world. You know, there's a billion different. Who is she really?
Right. Yeah.
But to see someone be created from that volatile environment was just really, as a kid, for some reason, fascinated me. I had wrapping paper, I had puzzles, if I was a boy, this would have been my sexual awakening. You know, like, no, like I was obsessed with this woman for the longest time. I wanted to be Michelle Pfeiffer, and I wanted to be Catwoman so desperately because she was awesome.
I mean, that is my favorite of those 4, I
Yeah.
guess, that you're saying as a series. But the one thing that bothers me now, looking back, is turning Catwoman into essentially like a sort of thing, where she's attacked by a bunch of cats and then suddenly gets cat powers. Like
No, it's
that
because she fell and hit her head like from 20 stories.
Oh yeah, I forgot that gives you cat powers.
That doesn't give you.
But it's a really cool. I mean, I think it's a really dark and twisted Tim Burton viewpoint of it. Which I know you already said your piece about Tim Burton. Which, to be fair, this is not a Tim Burton show. I won't tell you my second favorite movie by him, but it's like that's one of my only favorite movies by him. Like I could give or take not really watching a bunch of Tim Burton movies, but there was something about the artwork. There was something about Danny DeVito's character. There was something about Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
and
Christopher Walken
the whole
did awesome in
chemistry of everyone and the music. Oh my gosh, Danny Elfman. There's the Cat Suite score specifically for Catwoman that I've been known to listen to and probably dance around my apartment to, wanting to be Catwoman. But no, she's just, there was something about that movie and that mystery and that dark side that as a kid I latched onto really, really hard and didn't let go.
Anybody want to go next? Jason.
No, you go. You go.
My number 1 is the original Ninja Turtles movie. That's why earlier I said thank God. Because
At least somebody said it.
that movie, I watched that movie every day for 3 years straight.
It's kind of like me with
I
Frozen.
know that seems a bit excessive, and I understand that.
No, because
like,
I did that with Batman Returns too. So
Like, I understand that everybody listening is like,
Batman
what
forever.
is happening with that poor guy? But no, I mean, my number 1 has to be the original Ninja Turtles, just because. I mean, the movie is like, if you remade that movie with like today's graphics, it would still probably be one of the best movies ever made. Just because I think the original Ninja Turtles movie is one of the best movies ever made. It probably, if not definitely, beats Gone with the Wind. But like,
All right.
and the entire AFI.
which,
Speaking of Gone with
I
the
guess-
Wind, did y'all see the variant cover of Superman and Wonder Woman?
I
As
did.
Gone with the Wind, how incredible!
I
did.
And
That's
the-
actually
the
why I
Wonder
chose that
Woman's
movie.
Is 300, and it's incredible.
Oh yeah, that's
She's just
awesome.
like,
Yeah, the
blood
cover.
slinging,
We just
it's
bought it at
incredible.
Free Comic Book Day. Which anybody? I'm
Did
guessing
we
nobody.
get them? Yeah, we got.
Yeah,
them.
we got
Okay.
that. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else have a chance to go to Free
I
Comic
was
Book
in
Day.
Memphis.
Oh, well, they have comic book stores in Memphis.
No, they don't. I looked.
No,
So Ninja Turtles.
yeah,
good
no,
choice.
that's damn. That's the first time I think I remember hearing a curse word is that movie.
Yeah,
Is Raphael
mine was my
yelling
dad growing up,
damn.
but like,
Did you say
No,
your
that-
dad throwing up or growing up?
growing up.
Okay.
Just imagine.
I heard throwing up too.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Dad's Jason's
Calling the
dad.
dinosaurs. Mr. McDaniel.
But no, I mean it was my favorite movie as a kid. It was my favorite movie as a teenager. I'm 23. It's probably my favorite movie to this day. Just it goes down in my book.
Cool. All right, Kate.
Okay, my number one. This is a movie that I like. You have watched a million times. I can quote it verbatim. It also has one of the best movie soundtracks in the entire world, The Crow.
Ooh,
That was on my list.
Okay.
I may not look like it on the outside, but on the inside, I am an angsty goth girl. Like,
As seen in your previous
yeah.
votes.
So Brandon Lee
Yeah.
and all of that
So sad.
sexiness. Like, I had a poster from Hot Topic, of course, on my wall. Like, I adore that movie. I quote it without realizing that I'm quoting it. Like, when some horrible shit happens, I'm like, it's the really real world. There ain't no coming back. And, when it rains for like a million days, it can't rain all the time. I adore that movie, and seriously, one of the best movie soundtracks ever. You've got The Cure, and I mean, it's just like, it's an amazing conglomeration of post-punk goodness.
Yeah.
And so definitely number one.
Have you ever read the comic
I
book?
have not.
Do
I have
yourself a
not.
favor.
I need to.
Buy it. I
Buy
bought
it.
it at Barnes & Noble's probably about like last October. And it was because I had rewatched The Crow and discovered at the time it was a comic book. And it's some of the most beautiful artwork. When he's like remembering his girlfriend, fiance, everything, like it switches completely from this like really just gritty, like almost Frank Miller, rigid, just like hard edged world to this beautiful, soft, like charcoal drawn, like it's incredible.
Oh, wow.
I'll bring it next time and I'll let you
Oh,
just look
yeah,
at it and you can
absolutely.
see
That'd be
the
great.
difference, because it's one of those stark representations of what he's remembering and grieving over and then what he's living in this like shithole.
Wow.
Oh,
Right.
so good.
I actually struggled with it for a while because I didn't watch it whenever it first came out, and I didn't watch it until about maybe 5 years ago, and I hated it the first time I watched it. But that was because I thought it was cheesy and that it drew so many things from so many other places, and then I realized that it wasn't drawing things from other places. Other places were drawing things from it,
Yeah.
and then it was such like a foundation of a cornerstone of like this cinematic universe. Yeah, it blew me away watching it the second time and being like, hold on, I have to remember when this was made and see what was drawn from it instead of seeing what it drew from. And it was amazing. Yeah, it was such a really good movie. I always forget that it's a comic book movie.
Well said, sir. Well said. Who wants to go next? Jared.
All right. For my number one, it's a recent movie. It's fun. It's funny. Marvel made it, of course.
Of course.
Guardians of the Galaxy, man.
Oh yeah, man.
yeah.
That's
It was. It is hilarious. It's Andy Dwyer in space. It's a it's a space opera, which in all honesty, Star Wars was pretty much the first space opera, and Guardians of the Galaxy was colorful. It was vivid. All the characters were so diverse, but I mean, Groot. I mean, who doesn't love Groot?
Yeah,
I just picked up Guardians of the Galaxy #1 from the comic
Gotcha.
store
Yeah,
at
free comic book day.
Yeah, free comic book day. I was so excited. I found that.
They were just all the characters were badass and easily relatable. Which is, you don't have a whole bunch of misfits being superheroes, and they did that. And
I
it was
loved
fun.
seeing the Collector in a movie. That was
He
awesome.
was done so well.
Yes, I know. That was perfect
It was
casting.
amazing representation.
Yeah.
Of the Collector. Like,
Yeah.
he did so good.
No, the one issue I kind of had with it is I don't know. Has anybody else actually read the comics of Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
So Drax as a character is actually a human, and his like his family doesn't get killed, he gets killed, and then he's brought back to life as this thing to kill Darkseid. His whole purpose in life. So they kept the purpose, but I guess I don't know. I like the other backstory a little better, but it's hard to explain like somebody being brought back to life and being.
Wait, you mean Thanos?
Yeah, I was gonna
Right.
say you said Darkseid.
Oh, I did say
like
that was.
Oh
that,
wow,
I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a Freudian slip in that Thanos is clearly a ripoff
same.
of Darkseid.
You mean father of? But yes, I
Yeah.
So
Papa Thanos.
and he's about to do it himself.
yes, he is. He is about
Which
to
we
do.
will-
Spoiler.
you know.
Yeah, we'll get to there. They won't know what that means. Okay. Yeah. No. Great.
Guardians is great.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. No, it's cool. Yeah. Totally.
It's all good.
A little longer than I wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I understand.
Apologize.
No, it totally understand. We can maybe next show you can give your review of. Okay. All right.
Or I could record it and you could splice it in.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Actually, that'd be a good idea. Okay, so Jared is leaving. Now that he said Guardians of the Galaxy, have fun. Thank you for.
Not too new, just by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
No, it's awesome. I agree. That would have been. Yeah, Guardians
Later.
definitely would have been on my list. It was hard to not because just from the way it was shot.
Well,
but
the
it didn't make my
soundtrack
first.
even too.
Oh my god, the
Soundtrack
soundtrack
is
is
great.
so
Awesome. What better
freaking
awesome makes
amazing.
number one?
I work in a music store, and when that soundtrack dropped, we could not keep it. And
Well, I think
Then-
what's interesting too is that like so this music's been around forever because it's the 70s.
And it was
but if
actual
you're in the
collection of it.
grocery store and you hear one of the songs that just like Spirit in the Sky, like out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and
no,
you're
it's-
like, I remember in Guardians of the Galaxy when this happened. And you're like, wait, this song has been around for
Well,
way longer.
I used
Yeah, it
to
definitely
like.
pulled
I've
out
always
some
worked
old
out to
stuff
70s
that's really
music.
good.
I was born in '91, but I've always worked out to 70s music. And so whenever that movie came out and it was
Since the
70s music,
90s.
I was like, "What is this?"
These are my jams.
And exactly, I was like, "This is my jelly," because jam is lame.
I just got stepped on.
That's fine.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I've got to keep it moving,
Nice
guys.
segue.
Got to keep it moving, guys. All right. So y'all wanna battle it out or?
No, ladies
I was
first.
about to say this
Wonder
is
Woman
great.
first, obviously.
I don't know. I mean, okay, mine's gonna be quick and short and sweet because I feel like anything else of my number ones have probably already been said, and I don't want to take that from one of you gentlemen. As a filmmaker's standpoint, I'm without giving anything away. I really liked the new Avengers: Age of Ultron. I'm gonna just say
Wow.
that without saying
Dang.
anything else. Why? But
Well, we're
just
gonna
some
review
of
it next
them-
show,
Yeah,
so,
I know, but
Holy crap.
to
Yeah.
anybody who
Sorry.
may not have seen it yet, it's some of the shots in there are so skillfully done and impressive. As far as letting the movie digest, I get that. I respect that too. And it probably wouldn't have been my number one off the bat, but my other number ones have been said.
Nice.
So it's definitely on that list of just I was constantly wowed
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
throughout the movie,
can't-
and I'm like, this is all one shot. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. I am completely amazed. So
I'd be hard pressed.
I'll
to
say
disagree.
that without saying anything else. Y'all can go next.
Cool. Oh, was it me? You're taking-
Charles?
taking final? Okay, it's cool.
Taking it home.
Taking it home.
I mean, I can go if you'd prefer.
Bring it home, big man. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Winter Soldier.
Ooh, yeah, definitely in my top 16.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just love the Cap. He's got a soft spot.
Now, did this
in
pick
me.
have a lot to do with your fandom of Captain America, or
Honestly, no.
oh, okay.
just
it is a great
standalone by
movie. I just
himself.
oh
Really
yeah,
good.
Like that film was just so solid. I feel like it just kept bringing more and more tension and everything. I just felt like I was on a ride the entire time.
yeah.
I never felt let down. I never felt like any time that I was even starting to think like, hey, maybe this is going a little bit. Oh, nope. Okay, things are happening again. Like, it would not let me rest inside of that theater for any amount of time.
That was actually the first Marvel movie that I saw that I was like on the edge of my seat, because the other ones just kind of had like a laid back feel to it. They're all fun movies.
It was heavy.
But
It
this
was a
was-
very
this was
heavy
the
movie.
first-
It was the first one that I was like, oh, what?
Well, this is the dark side. It's like this is the crux for Steve Rogers' character. This is
Yeah.
the person that he never got to say. I don't know.
No, no.
Jason's like, I was like, spoilers are okay, right?
Yeah, spoilers. No, I
Yeah.
wasn't looking at. I'm sorry. I was just.
I'm sorry.
Don't say any spoilers.
I just got really scared. I was like,
No.
we all know who Bucky is, right?
Yes. I'm sorry. Why does everyone think they're in trouble? And I'm not.
It's the hair.
I'm not the dad. The hair. I'm not the dad.
I
got
did
Bucky
accidentally
hair right now,
text my
actually.
dad something that I was supposed to text you the other day because it said dad.
You are. Oh, daddy.
Okay. I was just simply going to say they're gearing up for Civil War.
Right, exactly.
Captain America Civil War. Right.
There's
I
so
know,
many
right?
speculations
So
to
you
what
you
comes
have to
after,
go
yeah.
dark.
Oh, yeah.
You have to start going dark if you're going to go Civil War. And if you're going to go Infinity Gauntlet, holy crap, you have to go dark.
Yeah.
No spoilers, but holy crap, that is a dark comic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then for Captain to carry that, that torch into it, where it's not, Iron Man carrying the darkness, it's not Thor, it's not any of the other ones.
It's the
It was
lightest, brightest.
Captain
Yeah,
America.
it's
I'm
like the most.
yes,
Yeah.
give it to me, because so many people after the first Avengers were pissing and moaning about Captain. They were saying like, he just doesn't feel like he's a part of the team. Like, why is he useful? Yada yada. And I'm like, no. What you don't understand is he is the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Without
everybody
them,
else
there
is
is
like
not a
useful
team.
and fun and good, and then he's the one that focuses the team and makes
Absolutely.
them actually.
He is the lens of that team.
And
Yeah.
I am one of those people who have just never really appreciated Captain America, and it was probably because I never read Winter Soldier. I just like Superman. There are these characters that I'm like, oh yeah, I know, you know my frustrations with them.
Yeah, that you've
But-
never actually read a good one.
No, I haven't. So prove me wrong, and I'm cool with that.
Well, we'll get to my number one. We'll get to my number one, and we'll talk about it.
But what I appreciated about Winter Soldier is that I never saw the first Captain America movie. And I feel like you don't have to, because having gone in, really only seen Avengers pretty much at that point from the Marvel Cosmic Universe, other than Iron Man, but, whatever. Well, no, I loved Iron Man. But I'm saying...
Well, that's an interesting point. I never thought about the fact that you can totally not watch the first Avenger and still get everything you need.
Because it was so well done.
Right, yeah. Well, the whole Marvel universe is so well done. Although it's getting a little difficult now.
It is.
To
but
fit
that
with
one
the
was
TV shows and
definitely
stuff.
that one is definitely a standalone, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
You can just
Yeah.
it's like watching Raiders of the Lost Ark or any of the Indiana Jones movies. Like, you really don't need to see the first or the
right.
second. You can just kind of watch them.
It adds to it,
at any
but
point.
You
It's
never
not
need to see the
necessary.
fourth one.
No, you don't.
There's
You
a fourth
never.
one?
Nope.
I have erased that from myself. But no,
That was the aliens that
in,
erased
in
it,
Winter
actually.
Soldier. I mean, I felt like it was James Bond if James Bond was written better.
Yes. Oh,
Ooh.
I'm not
I
saying
was
all James
so
Bond.
on
I'm not
board.
saying all James Bond. I'm saying like a lot of the James Bonds have been kind of overly campy with a lot of their stuff. But these latest ones, I love.
Okay.
I've always
Okay.
loved them.
I'm
just gonna dodge that. But in any case, it was a spy movie that
Right,
was
I get-
gripping.
I get what you're
so
saying.
much. I'm just gonna ignore the fact that I had said that. And so it was just such a great spy movie.
Yeah.
With so I'm done.
No, it was-
What's
it
Chase,
was-
what's your thing?
it made Captain America cool.
Yeah.
It
yes.
did.
Oh, the elevator
What
scene,
made Captain America cool?
the Winter Soldier,
Oh, okay.
the elevator scene. Are you kidding me?
Sorry.
Ooh, dang! She's shots fired.
She's not a big Captain
not a
I
America
mean,
fan.
I mean,
Which is funny. Again, I've said this to you before that it's funny you're a Superman fan, but not a Captain America fan, and they're very, very similar.
yeah, they
personality.
have the same integrity, but one's an alien and has a far more interesting story rather than being just like a Green Lantern pawpaw.
It's interesting. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
It's just like,
Green Lantern Papa.
he's kind of like Green Lantern.
He's
whereas
kinda like the Green
chosen and
Lantern
sort
of
of
the
created,
Avengers.
But like, he's like a pawpaw Green Lantern. Like, he's just sort
He
of
does.
boring.
He does say things like language.
He's not as like
Language.
So great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
He's a little too he's like the pawpaw that walks around with his Marine hat all the time.
yes,
And he's just like, "Her."
I will
And
say
he's-
though
yeah,
that
like I'm going down to the
Like
The
the
vet,
kind that like salutes people
yeah.
in fatigues.
Yes. Well, I don't know about the fatigues, but he definitely is, saluting everyone.
I feel like Winter Soldier though took that step to get him out of
See,
that
and
hole.
that's the thing is that I don't, don't want to get too off track here, but I think the Captain America in the comics is not. I think that's the same issue I have with people's idea about Superman is that they have this idea of what Superman is and have not read the comics and have not really broken down the character. They just know like, oh, he's just super powerful. Blah, blah, blah. I think when people say that like Captain America is just like this soldier that Charlie from the comic, that is not who he is. He even because he disagreed so much with the way the country was going, he stopped being Captain America for a long time.
Yeah.
Became a completely different hero.
Yeah.
So it's not just he's whatever America does, he's
Down.
I think it was Nomad. Did he become Nomad?
It was something weird. I
I
forget. what it
don't know.
was,
I've
but
never
yeah.
actually read that part, but
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, all those things.
okay. So my number one is I cheated because it's two movies. Only because I feel like you have to watch them both together, and it goes for my love of Superman again.
Is it Harry Potter?
It's
7
Harry
and 8?
Potter.
It's 7 and 8, right?
Goblet of Fire.
That's
No,
not two movies.
That's the worst one.
That's why I was saying 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, it's
I think technically that's 4.
it's Superman versus the Elite and All-Star Superman.
So is this an animated?
They're both animated. And the reason I put them both in together is because I feel like if you watch them both, everyone could understand why Superman is not only my favorite character, but the most popular character in the world. There are like a handful of images that you can show to 90% of the world, and they'll be able to tell you what it is. Like I think it's like the Judeo-Christian cross, the Coke sign symbol or whatever, and the Superman symbol.
And the Superman
Yeah,
symbol.
it's
Wow.
so I think these movies together really show you what it's about. Superman versus the Elite is action. It's Action Comics 775, which is called "What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way," and it's just a movie about how it's all the problems everyone has with Superman, that he's out of touch, he's lame, he's too overpowered, he won't kill, all those things that people have problems with, this movie addresses, and it turns Superman into what you think you want, and like he gives you that, and then you realize, oh my God, this would be horrible. If the character of Superman, if they started writing him this way and did these things, you would lose so much of the beauty of what superheroes are. Superman is a symbol of something, and trying to change that so that it's cooler is like parents telling their kids, it doesn't matter what's right, do what's fun. The right thing is never the easy thing, or isn't always the easy thing or the fun thing. Like, is that what we want to do as a country? Is not do the right thing, we want to do the fun thing. So I guess that's my little piece about that. And then All-Star Superman just kind of is essentially a love story to Superman. Of Morrison took in the graphic, or I guess the series, the miniseries of All-Star Superman. He took all of the greatest parts of Superman throughout the ages and put it into a graphic novel. And then this film just like hyper focuses that story, takes out a little bit of the fat.
I wish I would have watched that before this.
We did.
because
We did watch
Oh,
this.
which one?
We watched. We haven't seen. I don't think you've seen Superman versus the Elite, but you've seen All Star Superman. We watched it at
right, we did.
Yeah.
We watched that. Okay.
And
over
that's
the
how forgettable
fall.
that movie is.
No,
Oh,
no.
wow.
We didn't watch
I
the
am
whole
super
thing
happy
though.
that-
It was just happened to be on TV.
Right.
I didn't see the beginning. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that is good.
Yeah.
I hate Lois Lane in it, but
Well, yeah,
It's-
Lois Lane
It's
is Lois Lane.
yeah.
I'm very happy
Hateable.
that they have not gotten together in the current comic iteration.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's what. I wish I would have seen it from the beginning, but
We can go watch it.
yeah.
I think they're on Netflix. They're awesome.
I'm really glad that so many animated films made it into the top, because
Yeah.
I honestly just skipped my mind to throw in the animated
Mhm.
films,
Mhm.
even though they're like direct adaptations of these comics. Like it just, it wasn't in my head. So
Yeah,
it
but
was really
sometimes
cool.
when you put that voice to it and the mannerisms and movements, it can really, obviously it makes a bigger difference.
Yeah, and it's
it
huge.
doesn't
It-
even have to be with actors in a feature, it can just.
So many of my favorite movies of all time
piece
are
of art.
animated,
Right.
and things like that. And like I love anime. I love just like these different movies. And there's so much that you can tell with animation that you can't with a physical body. So many things that you can do. And so I think it's beautiful that like so much of this group's stuff was in the love of animation.
I just want to list Clay and Caleb's since they weren't here. Caleb's number 3 was Scott Pilgrim versus the World as well, Kate. So y'all, it's good to know that husband and wife.
Reason.
Well, I think that was the first.
That's the reason they're married. Is
I
Scott
think
Pilgrim.
that was the
that was
first
No, it was Caleb.
Caleb.
movie we went and saw together.
Oh.
Maybe was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It was either that or The Watchmen, but I walked out of The Watchmen. I couldn't.
Really?
I couldn't.
Interesting.
I'm surprised that one didn't make it.
Well,
Honestly,
that's on Clay's
Clay's,
list.
okay.
So, but number 2 for Caleb was the '89 Batman. So right there with
Right,
Batman.
right.
And his number 1 was V for Vendetta.
That was on my
which-
list too.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a Natalie Portman thing. That's kind of
Yeah.
my competition.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
That right there.
And that
Who doesn't?
what she said.
Jennifer Gardner would not look
Or
as good
Scarlett
bald,
Johansson.
though.
More Scarlett Johansson.
Truth.
She looked real good bald.
She's everyone's
Yeah.
woman.
So and then
Clay's was-
Clay's number 3s were The Dark Knight, not number 3s, but Clay's top 3s were The Dark Knight, Sin City, and the first 4/5 of Watchmen.
You see,
Which I
can
do want
see
to
that, but-
briefly talk about because I know, like I've read the Watchmen comic, and they are so faithful to the comic up until the end. And anybody who's read the end of have you actually read the?
I read bits and pieces of it because working at a bookstore when that movie came out, we were slammed with Watchmen
Right.
Well,
merchandise.
it's on the top 100 times greatest book.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of had to read some of it to get a feel of
Right.
what the whole thing was about. The reason why I walked out is just because it felt so slow to me.
Interesting.
Like my friend Katie, she like really talked it up about how it was going to be this really great like action-packed movie, and I'm like, kind of sitting there like I just got so I don't know. I was bored. I was irritated. Long day at work.
Yeah.
Kind of was just like, I got better things to do.
Well, the two things that really pop up to me about that movie are one, how could you have done that ending? I mean, spoilers for the people who haven't read the graphic novel, but how do you have a giant purple squid monster dead in that movie? And then not only that, but all the explanation that goes into the giant purple alien squid monster.
Right.
Like, I honestly think that the end of Watchmen was even more of an eloquent ending than the actual graphic novel. I know I'm having just so many people screaming at me at their podcast, wherever they're listening to this right now. But no, it's such a more interesting way to me for Dr. Manhattan to just say, yeah, I'll take this on. Like, I feel like that was incredibly creative, and you just could not have had a purple alien squid monster. Number 2 was that Zack Snyder, whenever they approached him, was like, hey, we're going to do Watchmen. Would you like to direct it? And Zack Snyder went, no. And they're like, oh, you don't want to direct it? He's like, no, you can't make that movie. You cannot. You are not allowed to make this movie. You can't. And they said, well, we're going to do it if you don't, whatever. He's like, well, if you're going to do it, I guess I'll, because he is a Watchmen fan, so.
Interesting.
I always thought that was very, very interesting as a.
I
Little
feel like
aside.
it was publicized improperly, also because like
Yeah.
you were saying, it was like I went into it having not read anything, like completely ignorant of it, and it suffered from the Juno effect of completely wrong publicity,
Marketing, right.
of you're seeing Rorschach like beat the shit out of people, and like there's Vietnam stuff, and like you're like, dang, this is gonna be like another like big superhero movie, awesome, it's gonna be great.
You're
this is
talking
philosophy. And this
Yeah.
is just like a big dissertation on a bunch of philosophy
Right.
and like a character study and drama and like
And American history.
You're also talking about, too, at the time, I mean, I just checked the dates, 2005, Batman Begins, 4
Right.
years later. Like, America at the time is feeding off of
we knew what
beating
comic
Right.
book
up
movies
people.
were.
And it's
let's
like,
beat the crap out of
here's
things.
it's dark and it's gritty and it's Sin City and like all these different things. Who you think what you're getting, but you're not getting that at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Most of them. It was kind of like Adventureland, not a comic book movie. Sorry, but like the commercials for Adventureland, everybody thought it was going to be this like '80s rom-com movie,
right? Or
then,
like kind of like Waiting almost.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
kind of what I
but
got from
working
it.
in an amusement park.
Right.
Little did we know it was not.
Not
that
at all. No. Okay. Well, I kind of wanted to go through some of my just ones that weren't mentioned that were on my alternates list. Batman Begins did make my alternates list, although did not make it very far into the bracket because it arguably is what revamped the comic book movie going. That people, just like people, the love of comic books. Weird Science, which I mentioned earlier, which I forget which one it is. I think it's like Weird Science number 55 or 51. One of those. Yeah, one of those. It's from one of those strange tales of weird science. I think there was one other one that wasn't. Oh, the Lego Movie. The Lego Movie totally made mine as a comic book movie because it has Lego Batman. And,
Very surprised that no one.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that as well.
Batman?
No, the Lego.
Lego.
Oh
saying
no,
he was stretching
I
it
was
because
stretching
it
it because it had Batman,
Batman,
Superman, and Green
Superman,
Lantern
Wonder
in it.
Woman.
I know.
I am really surprised though that no one mentioned X-Men. Not a single one of us.
But you know why we didn't?
I mean, I like the X-Men.
Hand me a microphone.
X-Men, I feel like the reason X-Men didn't get mentioned, because don't get me wrong, X-Men is a fantastic movie franchise, is a little overplayed. It's gone to the point to where, like, anytime I hear about a new X-Men movie coming out, I'm not as much like, what? And more like, again?
I would mention X-Men for the sheer fact of the makeup was awesome in it. I'll grant that. I mean, there was so many amazing characters in there but as far as the depth of those characters, I really can't go too much into it. So.
My favorite superhero of all time was actually done twice in X-Men by two different actors, Beast. I don't really talk about him. Hank McCoy I can get behind him. I understand who he is. He was a nerd who was trying not to be as, weird as he is, and then he became weirder. Yeah. And so I get behind that. I can feel that.
Yeah.
But no, like I love X-Men. That was actually one of my few was actually First Class.
Yeah, that's what I have. X-Men 2 and X-Men First Class on my list.
It's
Class was legit.
Yeah.
It's the only X-Men movie, except for like 5 seconds of cameo, that does not involve Wolverine.
Well, I just love seeing Magneto and Xavier be young, like
Exactly.
James McAvoy and
McAvoy.
Michael Fassbender. I'm in love with that man.
Yeah.
Marry me, please.
I think
Beautiful.
the X-Men.
Have you seen the movie
franchise-
where he shows his penis?
No, what is it?
I don't know. There's a. You just Google search Michael Fassbender's penis. It's
Is
totally.
it Prometheus? Because he's really hot as an android too.
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think it's in
I know.
No,
Just
it's not.
I probably would have remembered.
Yeah, he is.
Michael Fassbender's got like a lasso in his pants.
That is not
Speaking
incorrect.
Of heat, the two that I was going to say was Hellboy and Constantine.
Oh,
The
I
two
have
that
those down
didn't get
too.
mentioned, but
yeah, definitely.
both also for the makeup. But
Yeah.
I, mean,
I have Hellboy 2.
Those are
actually.
both on
Hellboy
Golden
2.
Army.
on the
Oh,
list
the makeup
somewhere.
in Hellboy 2 is even
Golden
better.
Army is
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like
Both
Hellboy 2 better, but the makeup in 2 is.
I
is
almost like
freaking awesome.
Hellboy 2 solely because of the opening sequence of that weird spinning thing that's like that whole like title sequence of like
Yeah.
that almost
Yeah.
labyrinth thing.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Kick-Ass? No one said Kick-Ass.
I think Kick-Ass was on a possibility list.
It was
for
a-
Mr.
it was an alternate for,
Owens.
Caleb.
Yeah, I myself have not watched it. He watched it one day. I needed a mommy break, and he was at home with the kid, and she passed out, and he.
Oh, good. He
watched
waited till
Kick-Ass.
she passed.
Yeah. I would question his parenting abilities had he watched that with the child in the room. But I think she was an infant when it came out anyway, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been. that.
Blade series and The Incredibles are two other ones.
Oh yeah, the animated
yeah.
Pixar Incredibles, correct?
I despise The Incredibles.
Really?
I despise The Incredibles.
I feel like we can all agree with
Um,
Ryan Reynolds and Blade
my
Trinity.
first experience watching The Incredibles, when I took French in high school, we didn't actually like learn how to speak French. We just we watched a lot of movies in French. And my first experience was watching it in French and hearing them say Les Incroyables the entire time. I'm like, okay, like I couldn't do it.
Okay, so it's not based on the movie, it's based on the experience of the movie.
Experience. And that
The Incredibles.
I'm just really not that big of a Pixar fan. I prefer like classic Disney animation. Like I want them to take it back to that.
I watched The Incredibles for the first time recently, like within the past week.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a little bit behind the times. I don't really like it.
Pass the mic.
And drops.
He dropped it?
Okay, I think a 2-hour podcast is long enough for this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a lot to edit. Don't worry.
Oh, no, yeah. I've got not that much to edit.
You'll
just
shave
to-
up about 10 minutes.
So I guess we need to do the little bit of business. This podcast is brought to you again by Complete Media Group, your one-stop shop for photography, videography, DJ, photo booth, and lighting services. Everything your special event needs.
Thank you for listening to another show of Comic Book Variant. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and please like our Facebook page. Search Comic Book Variant. You can also send us an email at comicbookvariant@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at 225-443-0228. And be sure to check out comicbookvariant.com.
You've been listening to Comic Book Variant, the show where we give you all the same comic book info you could get anywhere else, but just with a different cover. Join us again next time whenever we review Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Comic Book Variant. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if you want to see more of our videos, you can click the link right here. I'm Grace Emden, and this is Comic Book Variant, the podcast where you can get the same comic book related info you can get anywhere else, just with a different cover.
But not today, maybe tomorrow?
Isn't it rainy tomorrow?
Blah.